It all started about 3 months ago. My wife, Sarah, and I live in Lakeside Estates. Sounds fancy, right? It's mostly just a bunch of beige houses with mandated shrubbery. We're pretty quiet people. Keep to ourselves. Our one rebellion? Our garden. We're big into heirloom tomatoes and native pollinator plants. And standing proudly amongst the lavender and bee balm was a little ceramic sentinel. Bartholomew the garden gnome. He was a gift from Sarah's mom, holding a tiny fishing pole. He was harmless, charming even. Then the first letter arrived. It was on that crisp official HOA letterhead. Dear resident of 1428 Robbins Egg Lane, *, it has come to the attention of the Architectural Review Committee that you have installed an unapproved, non-conforming lawn ornament, Class C, figurine, novelty, in your front flower bed. Per Lakeside Estates Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions, CC and RS, Section 14, Paragraph 7, be all exterior decorations, including but not limited to statuary, fountains, and seasonal displays, must be pre-approved by the ARC and must conform to the community's aesthetic of refined, natural elegance. *. Please remove the violating object within 48 hours to avoid accruing daily fines of $25. It was signed, Warmly, Brenda Sheffield, HOA President. Warmly, sure. I showed it to Sarah and we laughed. We actually thought it was a joke. A gnome? Seriously? I figured it was a mistake. I sent a polite email back explaining Bartholomew was a gift, he was small, and he brought us joy. The response was not warm. Joy is not a consideration within the CC and RS. Removal within 24 hours is mandatory. Okay then. The pettiness was strong with this one. We didn't remove Bartholomew. I'm a reasonable man, but this was absurd. The fines started piling up. $25 a day. For a gnome. Then, another letter came. This one cited us for our non-conforming mulch. Apparently, the dark brown, nutrient-rich mulch we used was not the approved rustic tan blend. We were ordered to rip it out and replace it. That's when I knew we weren't dealing with a rational person. This was a power trip. I started documenting everything. I took time-stamped photos of Bartholomew, the mulch, our perfectly manicured lawn. I bought a binder. Oh yes, it was binder time. I also started doing what any sane person would do. I read the CC and RS. All 187 pages of soul-crushing, beige legislated misery. It was like reading a terms of service agreement written by a robot that hated happiness. But buried in there were some interesting tidbits. Meanwhile, Brenda escalated. She began doing drive-bys in her white Lexus SUV, slowing to a crawl in front of our house. Our next-door neighbor, Mrs. Gable, a sweet older lady, mentioned that Brenda had asked her if we were having financial difficulties, since we couldn't afford the correct mulch. The audacity! I decided to go to the next HOA meeting. It was held in a community clubhouse that smelled of lemon-scented cleaner and quiet desperation. Brenda sat at the head of the table, a vision in a crisp blazer, her hair in a perfect blonde bob. She ran the meeting like a dictator presiding over a particularly boring military tribunal. When I brought up the gnome, she cut me off. The rules are the rules, Michael. They protect everyone's property values. Your figurine is a slippery slope. First a gnome, next a pink flamingo, then a full-blown carnival. We must be vigilant. I kid you not. She used the phrase slippery slope about lawn ornaments. I looked around the room. A few people were nodding. Others just looked at the floor, defeated. I realized then this wasn't a battle to be won with reason. This was a war of bylaws. My one sanctuary was my shed. But I didn't call it a shed. I called it my backyard cabin. It's a nice one. I built it myself during the pandemic. It's my man cave, my writing studio, my escape. It's behind my house, mostly obscured by a willow tree. I never thought twice about it. Brenda Sheffield did. A new violation notice arrived. This one was epic. Violation. Unpermitted external structure. It has been observed that you have constructed a secondary dwelling unit, approximate 120 square feet, without submitting plans to, or receiving approval from, the Architectural Review Committee. This is a severe infraction. You are hereby ordered to cease all use of the structure and begin its demolition within 10 days. Daily fines of $100 will be applied retroactively to the date of its construction. Retroactive fines? For a shed that I built 2 years ago. The math was terrifying. She was essentially fining me tens of thousands of dollars. That was the last straw. The gnome was petty. This was pathological. I upgraded my documentation game. I installed a doorbell camera and a camera overlooking the backyard. I also delved deeper into the CC and RS, and I started looking into Brenda. Not in a creepy way, in a thorough way. And that's when I found it. The golden ticket. While researching the bylaws on structures, I found a clause about water-adjacent constructions. See, Lakeside Estates has a man-made lake. It's the community's crown jewel. And the rules for the community dock were incredibly strict. Any modification, any new cleat or ladder, required written approval from the dock's owner. A light bulb went off. I'd never really thought about it. Who did own the dock? The HOA? The developer? I made a few calls to the county clerk's office. A very nice woman named Cheryl helped me trace the property lines. It turns out, when the development was built, the developer deeded the lake and the dock to a private owner to maintain, separate from the HOA. The HOA just had a usage agreement. And who was that private owner? The name on the deed was my house's previous owner. I frantically searched through the mountain of paperwork from our home purchase. Buried in the addendums was a single sentence. The seller conveys all rights, title, and interest to the lake dock, tax parcel #7B, to the buyer. I owned the dock. Me. I had literally signed a paper agreeing to it and forgotten about it completely. The HOA had to come to me for permission to use it, and for any permits for work done on it. The irony was so thick you could spread it on toast. Brenda Sheffield, the woman trying to demolish my unpermitted structure, had built a massive new boat lift on my dock just 6 months ago. I checked my files. I had never approved a permit. She had broken her own sacred rules. Gloriously. But I didn't reveal my hand yet. I wanted to see how far she would go. She sent a final warning about the cabin, threatening a lien on our house. Then, on a Tuesday morning, I was working in my cabin. I heard a car door slam. I looked out the window. It was Brenda, and she wasn't alone. She was standing in my backyard, pointing at my cabin, talking to a uniformed police officer. My camera notifications were blowing up on my phone. I walked outside, perfectly calm. "Can I help you?" I asked. Brenda spun around, her face a mask of smug triumph. "Officer, this is him. This is the owner of the unpermitted, illegal dwelling. I've warned him repeatedly. He's in clear violation of our community codes." The officer, a tired-looking guy named Officer Miller, looked at me. "Sir, is that true?" "It's a shed, officer," I said calmly. "On my property. I'm not sure what the problem is. It's not a shed. It's a habitable structure. He has electricity in there. I saw a light on." Brenda screeched. "He's a flaunter of the rules. You need to make him demolish it." Officer Miller pinched the bridge of his nose. "Ma'am, this is a civil matter. It's not a police issue. I can't make him tear down his shed." "But he's violating the rules," she insisted, her voice reaching a frequency only dogs could hear. "Arrest him for trespassing on his own property, for unsightliness, for something." I smiled. "Brenda, before you have me arrested for owning a shed, maybe you should check your own permits. How's that new boat lift working out? The big, shiny white one on the community dock?" She froze. The color drained from her face. "What did you say?" I said. I repeated slowly. "I hope you got the proper permits for that boat lift, because, as the owner of the dock, I certainly never approved them." The silence was deafening. Officer Miller looked back and forth between us, a slow grin spreading across his face. He recognized a neighborhood drama for the ages when he saw one. You don't own the dock," Brenda stammered. But the confidence was gone. It was replaced by pure, unadulterated panic. "Check the county records, parcel 7B, I said sweetly. Now, if you'll excuse me, officer, is there anything else? I'd like to get back to my unpermitted structure. Officer Miller tipped his hat. No, sir. You have a good day. He turned to Brenda. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to step off this man's property. The look on her face was worth every single penny of the fictional fines. Priceless. The news spread through the neighborhood faster than a gossip wildfire. I wasn't just Michael with the gnome anymore. I was Michael the Dock King. People I'd never met were waving at me. Brenda, scrambling to save face, called an emergency HOA board meeting. She thought she could control the narrative. Oh, how wrong she was. The clubhouse was packed. Standing room only. Brenda tried to start the meeting as usual, but her voice was shaky. Now, regarding the recent confusion about lake amenities, she began. I stood up. Point of order, Brenda. Every head swiveled to me. I held up my binder. The holy binder of petty justice. I'd like to discuss a few violations. First, your unpermitted boat lift on my private property. According to CC&R Section 22, Paragraph 3, any modification to the dock requires the owner's written approval. I have no record of your request. The fine for that is $500 per day, isn't it? That's what it says here for unauthorized structural modifications. Let's see, 6 months. That's a lot. The room gasped. Brenda went white. Secondly, I continued, while we're on the topic of violations, I noticed your fence is approximately 6.5 feet tall. CC and RS, Section 9, Paragraph 1. Fences shall not exceed 6 feet in height. I clicked through photos on my phone and projected them onto the wall. And here's your non-regulation mailbox. And here's you leaving your trash cans at the curb for over 24 hours after pickup. And here's you hosting a yard sale, which is explicitly forbidden in Appendix C. I had it all. Photos, dates, timestamps. I had become the very thing I sought to destroy, a master of petty bylaws. But I was using my powers for good. The room erupted. People started shouting. Not at me. At Brenda. You fined me for my welcome mat. You made me repaint my shutters because they were eggplant, not aubergine. My $25 gnome fine. I want it back. It was a full-blown uprising. The other board members shrank in their seat. Brenda Sheffield resigned as HOA president the next day. She had no choice. The board, terrified of the newly empowered and slightly unhinged homeowner population, led by me and my binder, voted to dismiss all outstanding petty fines. They formed a new committee to review and simplify the CC and RS. I was asked to be on it. We legalized garden gnomes. We expanded the approved mulch color palette. We allowed people to have personalities. As for Brenda, she avoids me like the plague. I see her sometimes, walking her perfectly groomed Bichon Frise. She always looks the other way. I, on the other hand, always give her a big, friendly wave. Oh, and Bartholomew the gnome? He's still there. But he's got a friend now. I bought a second gnome and put it right next to him. I call her Brenda. She's holding a very tiny, very official-looking violation notice. And my cabin is still standing. I even added a little porch. I had the ARC approve the permit, of course. The new head of the committee, yours truly, thought it was a wonderful idea. So, the moral of the story? Know your bylaws, document everything, and never, ever underestimate the quiet guy with the garden gnome. He might just own the whole dock. Outro with upbeat music returning. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have you ever had a crazy HOA story? Drop it in the comments below. And don't forget to smash that subscribe button for more tales of petty justice. Until next time.